At that time, as far as I remember, the English had taken over India, and they were actually affecting the people. The people at that time, pure Shuddha Bhakti, had actually basically been lost. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was actually very disturbed about that. So the English were saying Christianity was better, and that the Indians were backwards, and that they had no knowledge, and they were like simple people. They not very good class. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was very disturbed by that, so he prayed very dearly and very strongly actually to Krishna that he wanted to have a son who could actually help to actually bring back in pure Shuddha Bhakti and preach and spread Lord Chaitanya's mission. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was the seventh child, and yeah, when he was born, I think everyone knows how the wrath cart was coming down, and because Bhaktivinoda Thakur at that time, he was a magistrate, and he was very amazing because he would do his work in half the time of any other magistrate. That whoever was coming through, he had the case finished, and he would spend so many hours just writing his books and doing his sadhana, and it was amazing. If you read what he fitted in a day, it was just a normal person could not do that. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was like that. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, because he was so well known in Puri, his wife, when the Puri cart, Jagannath's cart came, and it stopped in front of their place, so they moved aside and they allowed her to come with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur as a baby, and she went up onto the cart and she presented him to Jagannath, and the garland fell off. And so many things happened actually that Bhaktivinoda Thakur understood that this is the child I prayed for. So it was very, I think I read when he was 7 years old, he was actually helping to, what did they call it, like proofread and edit like that. I think it was the Sajjanatoshini, as far as I remember,
Yes.
At 7 years old. And he was just very amazing. So as he grew up, well, actually, we all know that he was the one, actually, first of all, before he preached, he actually went and he chanted. I think he spent years and years and years.
10 years.
10 years.
1 billion names.
1 billion names.
3 lakhs per day. 192 rounds per day.
Yeah, and how long did he
For
do
10
that
years.
For 10 years. Before he went to preach. I mean, that is just phenomenal, actually.
And you can go see the Mahaprabhu that he chanted in front of in Rudradweep. In the
Right.
Rudradweep Gaudiya Math, there's a Radha Madhav, and then there's Mahaprabhu, who is the same Mahaprabhu that he would sit with when he
Wow.
chanted his 3 lakhs every day.
Wow. I think I saw him last time I went. Very amazing. Yeah. So, I lost my track there. What was I saying?
That he was proofreading at a young age, and then he was growing up.
Yes. Yeah, and then, as he became older, then he actually, they didn't really understand him. Same as they didn't understand our Srila Prabhupada, they didn't understand Srila Rai Maharaj. Many people of the ordinary mass, they actually, because Bhaktisiddhanta did so many things that had never been done before. He travelled in cars, never been done before. He wore stitched clothing, which had never been done before. Used microphones, which hadn't been used before. And so it was like, some people thought he was getting away from the simplicity of just being a renunciate. But he understood Yukta Vairagya, using everything actually in the service of the Lord. And so then what he did was, because he wanted to, I think it was after his dad died, and I think his mum said to him, your father wanted this teaching spreading around the whole world and it has not been done yet, you must do it, she said to him. So then he opened 64 mats. And when we go to India, we can go on like the big long road. It's all one mat after another, after another, after another. And we can japa walk and we can go in the mall and get darshan and hear the stories, and very amazing. So he opened those 64 mats and then he started training them all for parikramas, big parikramas with everybody chanting all day long. I'm sure some of you have just been there doing it. And very powerful. Powerful for those doing it, powerful for those hearing it. So, yeah, so we opened those mats. And then I was just thinking, actually, how interesting, because I don't think there was actually organised religion before that time. It was more like people sharing quietly. And they did do local preaching and preaching around India, but there was not really organised religion that was trying to spread around the whole world. I think Bhakti Thakur had sent one book previously.
Yes.
And
he said that the ringing of the bells of the Salvation Army to collect money in the streets is the beginning of Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement in the West.
yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? Hari Bol, Salvation Army ki Jai. Yes. So, yeah, I was thinking actually how interesting that was, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur also said that in the future, actually, Krishna consciousness will spread by Namahatta. So it's like those big institutions that we've sort of been a part of and joining in with, they actually came in at a certain time and will go out at a certain time. And it's actually quite amazing to have been a part of that, actually, to see, you know, that amazing push for the preaching. So, yeah, so let me think. Yeah, he was quite strict, because at that time, pure Shuddha Bhakti had more or less been lost a little bit, really. So there were many people who were deviating. They were maybe speaking what wasn't quite right, or they were actually speaking high topics, not qualified. And so he was very strong, actually, strongly spoken about the Rodhakund Babas and things like that. He was very, very strong. So it doesn't mean that they're all completely bogus, but he was just, at that time, he was very cutting. But he also, at the same time, I think it was in 1932 or 34, I forget which, but he gave a really interesting talk, which was put in the Harmonist magazine. And he was saying how, I know you are not ready for this, but he was saying how when you've been chanting for 10 or 15 years, he said, you must understand that anartha nivritti is not everything. He said there's something called artha pravritti. So he said once you've been chanting for quite a long time and your mind is fixed and you like to hear, then we must understand artha pravritti is what we're aiming for and artha nivritti is what we're trying to get rid of. So he said that we have to understand that. He said if we don't understand that at some point, then we will become impersonal. So just chanting, no goal, no proper understanding. So, yeah, so he was very, very special. So I am going to stop there and leave it to the next person to carry on. Okay, thank you. Hari Bol, Radhi Radhi, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai.
Mother Yashaswini Didi ki jai. And the clip, this clip.
Oh, where is it?
Sri Lochan, Prabhu.
Use the clips, thank you.
Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Gina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Tapta Kanchana Shuddhabhyam Taravali Parihitam Nayanamani Manjarim Vande Ganaseva Parayanam. So this last shloka I chanted now, it's a Dhyan mantra for Srila Prabhupada eternal form. So I will explain what I have heard a little bit. Tapta Kanchana Shuddhabhyam, his form is like golden complexion and his body color is like cow urine color. It means golden, such golden color. Taravali Parihitam. So his dress, his clothes is like blue sky, deep dark blue sky, and stars on this sky. So his sari dress color is deep dark blue with golden stars. Nayana Manjarim Vanden. So his eternal form is Manjari, and his name is Nayana Manjari. Gana Seva Pranam. So his eternal Seva is Gana Seva. So this I have heard from my Gurudev, and it was time when so many questions comes to Gurudev. Oh, do we have some understanding about our parampara? Do we have this bhajan mark or whatever? Even it's not my level to discuss. It's definitely not my level. I'm not qualified on this. But he said this Dhyan mantra for us, and he says as well that he has all mantras we need for bhajan, and who will be qualified, he could ask for this mantra. So yes, so this is very important Dhyan mantra for Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Vaishnava Saraswati Goswami Thakur mantra. And very special moment I also noticed when someone asked from which sampradaya you are. Usually we say Brahma, Madhava, Gaudiya sampradaya, but Gurudev added one more, Brahma, Madhava, Gaudiya, Saraswata sampradaya. Although I'm not qualified to understand his really Srila Prabhupada's influence, yes, it's impossible for me. But it's what I have heard. Actually, he's like such a special that he wasn't like included, like separate person in Sampradaya's name. It's really pretty much. I wanted to share the small points of this important.
And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he predicted that in the future, all religions of the world will come together into one religion, the Brahma Sampradaya. So, but these additional names are personalities who had a particularly important contribution to the Sampradaya in such a way that it revolutionized what was coming from Brahma. So Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya, and so we add Saraswat because of his unique special contribution to uplift the line and enhance on the teachings that are flowing from Brahma, from Madhva, from Mahaprabhu.
One more thing here, Mani Prabhu, that once I have heard. Sorry for my Sanskrit pronunciation. It was said probably in Padma Purana, and there is some verse and some text like Hritkale Purushottama. So it was like meaning from place of Purushottam means Puri Dham. This something great happens, something meaning like that. So yeah, Srila Prabhupada Vaishnava Saraswati Goswami Thakur, he took birth in Jagannath Puri. So yeah, his special appearance, someone will explain it later.
If you go to that place, you can have darshan of the exact location where Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur manifest. Because when they built the temple, his murti is right where he was born. And that wasn't the original construction, but when Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj was assisting his Gurudev in construction of that mutt, then when they destroyed the little hut that Srila Prabhupada was born in, then the entire atmosphere for like 10 kilometers, every direction was permeated with flowers in such a strong aroma that they did a reorganization of the entire floor plan so that Prabhupada's murti would be at that place because he was still present by his aroma. Wow. So a very special place. You can go there for darshan. But you were doing offering now, or?
I'm doing, but I just finished some.
Okay, so now Pran Kishore Prabhu will speak something.
Okay. I have a question. What is Gana Seva?
Gana means singing. He's singing. Actually, he has some connection with his pranam mantra. He's embodiment of kirtan.
Yes.
Mahaprabhu's kirtan. Yeah, so he's Gana Seva. Yeah. Gana, singing.
You can think like this for future days of the appearance and disappearance of great Vaishnavas, that it's so powerfully beneficial in your life to have an opportunity to say some glorification of the Vaishnavas, that you should be eager for it, not afraid. So think like this for the future, and then sign up and make a team. Have 4, 5, 6 people speak, 7 people speak, 10 people speak. Everyone speak. It's very powerful. Please use this clip just for the life.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Stadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurtvise Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Om Vrindaye Tulasi Devyaye Priyaye Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatye Namo Namaha Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Namo Vishnu padaya Krishna prishtaya bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine. So before speaking, I'd like to offer my Sastang Dandavat Pranams in the dust of the lotus feet of my worshipful Srila Gurudev Om Vishnu Pada Sutta Sati Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj, and beg for his causeless mercy. And in the same breath, I'd like to offer my unlimited Dandavat Pranam in the lotus feet of Srimad Madhav Puri Prabhu, Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, my Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. And especially on this day, to the grandfather of our Sampradaya, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur, who, just like is said in Bhagavatam, how this fruit of the Bhagavatam comes down and is tasted by Sri Suk, tastes this fruit and makes it even sweeter. So in the same way, each contribution of our illustrious acharyas in our Guru Parampara, they make this fruit which is being given even sweeter. And when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur came in to this Leela of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and did his part, then everything changed. Yashashwini Didi was saying, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was praying that, I wanted to spread this Yuga Dharma all over the world. I wanted to spread this Harinam Sankirtan all over the world. And, we're still just getting through India, so I must have a son who will definitely complete this service. I must have a qualified son. And he went to Bimala Devi. He prayed to Bimala Devi that I'll have a son who will be qualified to complete this service. And then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was born, and he was given the name Bimala Prasad. And we heard this beautiful pastime of how the rat cart stopped outside his house and wouldn't move for 3 days until the garland, Prasadi garland from Lord Jagannath, had landed round the neck, I heard, told like that. But also when he was born, he had markings. Maybe someone already explained this, I don't know, maybe I was in the kitchen. But he was born with some markings of a Kanti Mala around his neck. And he had Dwadas Tilak, birthmark, something like that. And he also was born with his umbilical cord wrapped around his throat and his shoulder, just like a Brahmin thread. So Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada from an early age was clearly not an ordinary, from the moment he was born, was clearly not an ordinary child. So many amazing things happening. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, being his father, was looking for some kind of engagement for him, some way that he could kind of get set up in his life or something, as a father does, and was looking for so many material engagements for him. But Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada was completely disinterested in material pursuits. He was highly qualified. He got this award that he was going to be the president of the Astrological Society, some prestigious society. What was that place, Maharaj? You know?
Yes.
Oh, Maharaj, whatever.
Yes, for the president of the Department of Astrology in Kolkata, in the Kolkata University.
Yeah.
And they kept the seat empty for him, that
Yeah.
anytime he wants to come take it, it's always available to you.
Yeah. So they offered him this seat and he refused. He said, "I've not been sent here simply to count the stars." Although he was like unprecedented qualification, but he was disinterested in simply counting stars. He came here for a purpose. And that purpose he went to seek, like Yashashwini Mata was telling, how he was chanting 1 billion Harinam. And then he had this darshan, you know, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and all of the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to him. And they gave him the instruction that he should preach. And he said, "But I don't have any money, I don't have any men." And they said, but Mahaprabhu said, "But don't worry, you just preach, you start, and I will send money and I will send men." So they say that, you know, the mango never falls far from the tree, you know, and you can tell something, there's some other saying about you can tell something by something else, but about you can tell the quality of the guru through the disciple somewhat, sometimes, not all the time, obviously. But you can tell the quality of the guru through the qualified disciples that manifested.
But it should put some onus on you to be a good disciple.
Yeah.
You should think every time you go out into the world, and even when you're alone, that at every moment I'm representing Srila Gurudev. And so actually we're never really alone. He always has our eye on us. But especially in the world, the interface with the world, we should be very good representatives of Srila Gurudev. Because it's to the benefit of those devotees that you come in contact with and those general jivas you come in contact with. If you can have a good representation of Srila Gurudev, of Srila Prabhupada, of our parampara, then something of their observation of you can reflect in such a way they get some sukriti for appreciating a great Vaishnava who's empowered you. And in this way, you're actually helping all of these jivas, and you're getting some benefit because to follow in the Anugati of Sri Guru is the best life.
Yeah, so he produced so many highly qualified disciples. All of the disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada in our Faridabad temple, we used to have like one picture of all the prominent disciples of Bhakti
The
Siddhanta
old mat,
Prabhupada.
right? The
Yeah.
old mat, yeah.
They still have actually, but it's like behind or something like that. No? But it was, you could see, you could look, and all of the, not all of them, but many of the prominent disciples. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj published this book, My Beloved Masters, which is just full of amazing pastimes of all of the, pure devotee disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada.
It's like an abridged version, even. It's his personal relationships, but there's dozens and dozens and dozens of great acharyas.
So many amazing devotees manifested by the mercy of Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada. And his direct associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also coming at this special time. Like, then he gave Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to the world. He gave this instruction that you must go out and preach. After establishing 64 mats and, it's to creating, like, nurturing, nourishing so many great devotees like Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. So such amazing contribution. And he didn't want to take initiation from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur because he didn't want this, or maybe it was will of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but both of them, they didn't want this Gaudiya line to become like a Smarta Brahmin line, which is like a seminal line passed down from the father. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur wanted him to go and find another guru. So he came in touch with Gokshore Das Babaji Maharaj. He had first darshan of him when he was singing this Kotai Go Prema Mai Radhe Radhe in full ecstasy, chanting and crying and dancing. And Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada had his darshan and decided that, wow, this devotee owns my heart. He offered himself in that moment, and he was asking for initiation, something like Narottam Thakur, begging for initiation, but Gokshore Das Babaji Maharaj was not giving. And then eventually he began fasting. He wouldn't eat or drink anything. His body became so emaciated because he was fasting that I will fast until my guru gives me initiation. And eventually Bhaktivinoda Thakur was compelled to approach Gokshore Das Babaji Maharaj and request him, please kindly give my son initiation because otherwise he will die. So he gave him initiation, and
He said, if you're giving yourself to me, who are you to decide who you live or die? How you can decide if you live or die? If you're my possession. So I'm accepting you and you can't make this independent decision. But he played with him so much because he kept coming to him, oh, please give me initiation. Oh, you're not qualified, you're full of deceit, you're full of worldly qualities, you're full of worldly tastes. And then he comes again, please give me initiation. Oh, I'll ask Mahaprabhu. Let's see what he says.
I forgot to ask later.
And then he comes again. He says, oh, no, I was very busy. I forgot to ask him. Come back another time.
He said he had so many other things to talk about.
So like this, he kept playing with him to see what his real resolve is.
Yeah.
And Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he came in contact with Gorky Sridas Babaji Maharaj, he's thinking, I thought I knew something, but I knew nothing, really. He was proud of how he'd become a very dharmic person. He had worldly knowledge. He had some educational capacity. He was very scholarly. He was a very good personality. And then he saw this personality is so superior to me. And he describes it like a thunderbolt to the heart. And he says, the shock that I experienced in the darshan of my Gurudev is the required shock of every jiva. This is how to get them out of the material engagement, is to have that shock.
Wow.
Very intense darshan.
Yeah. Wow. My God. That last image just took me. Wow. So he eventually was granted initiation by Gorky Sridas Babaji Maharaj, and he established our Bhagavat Parampara that we follow.
Actually, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur first wrote it down, and Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he installed it as the standard with like this. But it's coming really originally from Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And so many things, that came originally from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada was so successful in propagating those things to the wider society. All of the books of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and so many gems that were given to us just by the mercy of Bhaktisiddhanta in his determined resolve to fulfill the wish of Mahaprabhu that this should be in every town and village. So not wanting to take any more time, but thank you
Oh, very
for
good.
opportunity.
More.
Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripasinubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo. Thank you.
The clip.
Yeah.
So now, if anyone has become inspired by this opportunity and wants to make some pushpanjali to Srila Prabhupada, you can do.
I'll stay with you.
Yeah, come.
Or can I just stay here?
No, they live stream everything.
Okay, then. Do I need that?
Yeah, for the live stream. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
just so they can.
Alright. Stick it there. Om Jnanatimirandasya Girangana Shalakaya Chakshurumritamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine. Shri Vaishnavanavi Devi Daitaya Kripavate Krishna Sambandha Vijnanadayane Prabhave Namaha. Madhujora Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Kurana Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute. Vanchakalpatarubhishcha Vipasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So I offer my obeisances unto Nicha Lila Vishnu Vishnupada Stotras at Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narasinga Goswami Maharaj, and unto all of our acharyas and devotees present here, and especially unto Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, whose disappearance day it is today. I'd just like to offer my Pushpanjali for my own purification. As I remember Gurudev mentioning in one of his books that if you do not speak, this is pride. So I am going to try and speak something today. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada disappeared, I think it was 1936, December the 31st. When he was leaving, he became very ill, and he ordered everybody around him to continue being under guidance, anugacha, and continuing in this mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Preach the message of Rupa Raghunath.
Okay.
Like this.
Right, Rupa Raghunath. And it was actually Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj who put him into Samadhi. I think he left is it in Calcutta?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to give a class. I think it was in Jagannath Puri, where Swarup Damodar and Raghunath Das Goswami used to reside, and he would give Harikatha, and the Babajis would come, and in the absence of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Saraswati Thakur would also give class. But the Babajis, they couldn't tolerate, and they stopped coming because Srila Saraswati Thakur was so expert in defeating the arguments of so many sampradayas and so many false doctrines that were against the true teachings of Mahaprabhu. That they could not tolerate this, so that time was a very dark time that was coming. So Srila Saraswati Thakur, there were Saki Beki, so many types. So
13.
13, okay,
Apasampradayas.
13 Apasampradayas. I do not know how many there are today, but at the time was
The same 13. They just have
Right.
different names and different representation.
right.
But it's
Okay.
the same 13.
Okay.
Like Ridvik nowadays, there's actually one Apasampradaya that their whole concept was we can take initiation from acharyas who've already left. So there's nothing new under the sun. It's all the same thing.
Okay. Okay, so we are actually very fortunate to be in this line under the guidance of Srila Saraswati Thakur, and he's special because he has given birth to so many pure devotees, acharyas who have established their temples and mats to spread the holy name and spread this mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I can't name them all, but Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj being one, Srila Swami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Shakshidhar Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Puri Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Goswami Maharaj,
Srila Bhakti Kama Madhusudan Goswami Maharaj.
yes, Srila
Bhakti Daita Madhav Goswami Maharaj. Srila Bhakti Gauda Vaikanas Goswami Maharaj. So many.
Yeah, so many, and he's so powerful in that way, and also Srila Saraswati Thakur, he's written this song called Dushtamana Tumi Gisera Vaishnava, page 385 in the songbook. If you want to look it up later, we didn't have time to sing it today because it's like 3 pages long, but
Right.
it is hardcore. It's like I think it's even more hardcore than Srila Lochandas Thakur. Like you are chanting in a solitary place for prestige and honor, and I think the second or third verse is talking about you want women and wealth, and what kind of wicked Vaishnava are you? So much humility, so much pride, cutting, really, really heavy. So yeah, you can read this later. And also Srila Swami Maharaj mentions his Guru Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in his Jaladuta prayers as well.
And he wrote his own pranam mantra, which is mentioning Sri Saraswati Thakur also.
Right.
Namaste Saraswati Devi.
Okay.
So Swami Prabhupada wrote that pranam mantra himself, to put himself in that position.
Right. Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Sachi Sutta Priyarati. And I think in the third verse explains how Srila Saraswati Thakur was spreading this bhakti everywhere in the whole world. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur instructed him that you should be like Narada Muni, actually spreading this bhakti everywhere. There's also a story as well. Our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj also saved the life of Srila Saraswati Thakur by swapping clothes. After he was being chased by some gundas.
Yes, they wanted to kill him.
They wanted to kill him. There's that story as well.
And he was able to do this and swap the clothes because he looked so similar to him.
Right,
And to establish that again tonight, we brought the picture of Param Gurudev by mistake instead of Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada because they look so identical. So we got the right picture now. But they were so similar looking that when they swapped cloth, that everyone thought Param Gurudev was Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, and because he was a white cloth brahmachari, then Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada could escape in his white cloth.
That's true.
And that was the real sannyas of Param Gurudev.
Right. And also there is this famous photograph of Srila Saraswati Thakur. I think he's meeting, is it called Andrew or John or somebody, like some important English person, and he's wearing he's wearing a Western outfit, like a coat.
Yeah, very nice.
But what is the reason why he's wearing this Western outfit again? There is a reason why he's wearing that, but I'll have to look it up. But it's a really famous photograph.
Also Rolls Royce, everything. This is part of the Yukta Vairagya of his of Seva, that anything can be engaged in the service of the Lord if you're using it for that purpose.
Right. If you look it up on Google, it's a really powerful photo, and I think next to him is also Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami. You can tell by his face, it's a young face, you can tell that it's him. And also one time some devotees were complaining that Srila Saraswati Thakur was giving money to one of his disciples called Kunja Bihari, who was managing everything there with the preaching. But then he said to one of the devotees, "Have you burnt your head?" He said, I am giving this salary to him because he is managing everything, he's doing everything. So he was very strong. We are really grateful to be in this line, and if it wasn't for Srila Saraswati Thakur, we wouldn't know, we wouldn't have any knowledge, any of the acharyas in our line. We wouldn't be able to receive this transcendental knowledge passed down right from the beginning. When we sang this song earlier, Krishna Hoite Chaturmukha, the whole disciplic succession, the whole line is there right from the beginning. So I will just finish there.
Srila Prabhupada ki. The clip.
Yes.
Ishwarari, you speak, and after you speak, you can lead a Jaya Nila Premadana. You can represent him.
Oh no, I'm not going to do a good job of representing anyone. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Stadale Krishnaya Krishna Daya Tada Bhaktaya Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Tinamine Namo Vishnu Padaya Radha Govinda Priyatmane Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Jivan Acharya Tinamine Vancha Kalpatarubhisha Kripa Sindhu Bevicha Patadanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. First of all, I'd like to offer my humble obeisances at the divine lotus feet of my Guru Pad Padma Nityalila Pravisht Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj, and at the same time my Guru Maharaj Nityalila Pravisht Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Jivan Acharya Goswami Maharaj, the entire Rupanuga Guru Varga, headed by our exalted great grandfather Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. Today is an auspicious day, like Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj would say, and actually all of our Guru Parampara would say. Today is the most auspicious day. We're really, really fortunate to be in this line of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. Why? Why this personality and not anyone else? Because he is the root cause, he is the root of our Vaishnav, our Sampradaya. Why couldn't it be Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur? Is the question, because Bhakti Vinod Thakur is also Mahabhagavad. It's not that Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur did not have the capacity. At that time, you have to also look at time, place and circumstance of what is happening in India at that time. And what was Bhakti Vinod Thakur doing? Instead of preaching the mission and knowing that it would be very difficult for people to understand at that time, because people were fighting against the British at that time and for freedom. So there was this big political endeavor to trying to free India at that time. So many people at that time were not focused on religion. They were very focused on getting India out of the situation that they were in with the British trying to invade, or what already had invaded. Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually was in a very high position. He was a magistrate of the courts, and actually had a special train that was created for him from Navadvip, Mayapur, to Calcutta, just for him, because that's how high he was in just a material platform, let alone anything else. But what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur did was established loads of things for our future parampara to use. So, for example, the book that was sent to Oxford University was particularly given and sent there, but no one knew why that book was sent to the Brit. What was the use of that at that time? There wasn't. But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving indication. He was giving indication that this will happen. So we're really, really fortunate, because when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada came to the world, in how we've all heard, how he's come, when he started to establish himself, he didn't do it in a very kind of quiet manner. He had to go in and do something that was very different, because at that time, when Srila Bhakti, sorry, I'm now losing track. Okay, so when before he took Harinam, before he started preaching, like Yashashani Didi was saying, that he was chanting so many rounds before he started to preach. And at that time, he was living in the birthplace of Mahaprabhu. He was actually living there with who? His mother. He was actually living with his mother in that place. And he was still chanting 24 hours of the day, 100 billion names. And when we look at acharyas, we should know that actually we can only know them through other means of other Vaishnavas. For example, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, in his biography, which is in Hindi at the moment, Srila Bhakti Bodhan Bodhaya Maharaj has written it in Hindi at the moment, but it will come out in English. But there's this beautiful interaction that happens between Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, at that time was Vimal Prasad in Calcutta, no, in Navadvip, and Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj.
Paramananda Brahmachari.
Yeah, who at that time wasn't initiated, and the first time he saw Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada was when he was carrying the body of Srila Gaura Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj and fighting against those so-called disciples that were trying to put him in Sabadhi. And then Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada stood very strong and asked loads of questions like, tell me if in the last month, if anyone has had any relation with another woman, and so many stayed quiet. He said, then okay, tell me in a week if someone's done it. Actually, in fact, tell me today if anyone has not done. And if you have done, then you are not his disciple. And like this, he was
And
so
not qualified to touch his divine body.
Yeah.
It will destroy you. Because they wanted to drag him through the streets. Because in his humility, he expressed that when I pass, you should drag me through the streets of Navadvip so the dust of the Dham will cover me. But it takes a real Sat Shishya to understand the inner meaning of why Acharya expresses like this. You can't just take at face value. Okay, we drag
him across, yeah. So at that time, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj sees Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and then says, that is my guru. But we see through his writings the relationship and the depth that he has with Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. In fact, if you read any of our acharyas that are direct disciples, you just read even a little bit of their biographies or even a little bit of the interactions, you will see how deep their relationship was. Why would a high landlord leave everything that he has to go and beg on the streets with a box in his hand? Like Srila Bhakti Pragyan Kesha Goswami Maharaj. Why would a practical king prince leave his establishment to again beg and eat on the floors because they didn't even have plates at that time? This is our parampara. This is the jewels that we've been given from a treasure chest of Krishna's and Mahaprabhu's mercy. Like, we are so fortunate. We don't even understand how lucky we are. And we should take this moment to understand that he's already a jewel. But because he's so merciful, what did he do? He gave us so many other jewels in the treasure box. And he gave us so many different types of jewels so that our heart can at least go into one of those. Do you know how fortunate we are? I just want everyone to just think about how lucky we are to be in this very moment, this very place where we are speaking about Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. How many of us are there? Even in this room, how many of us are there? We're here establishing this relationship. Why? Sometimes it seems that, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada is so harsh. No, it's his pure humility. It's his pure daya, meaning compassion. Like, compassion is even just a less word. Yeah. Like, it doesn't even mean anything. Compassion is like so less comparatively to what he actually wants to give. Like, when he first established the Mat, there was no one in front of him. Only he would be a table, he would sit there and wait for people to come. That's the relation, that is him. We see the king now, but we've seen what the struggle, if you read the struggles he went through, for someone like me, like, I'm just very mind blown by the fact that someone like me, he wanted to save. So, like, it's incredible. And what did he do? He gave us Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj. He gave us our Param Gurudev. He gave me my Param Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Kamal Madhusudan Goswami Maharaj. And then on top of that, they were like, no, that's not enough. We'll give you Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. We'll give you Bhakti Bhudan Bodhayan Maharaj. And then, no, that's not enough. I will give you Shripad Bhaktivedanta Siddhanti Maharaj. I will give you Bhaktivedanta Madha Maharaj. So many. We're just in a treasure box full of wish-fulfilling gems. And it starts because he gave the treasure chest and he's given the key with it. So we have to be in the position to be able to accept that. Because we're not, even in some of his writings, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada's writing, that even the most fallen, even in his Upadesh Avali, he's also writing in there that even just the simple-heartedness of wanting to be in this line is enough. Doesn't mean that we don't do it. That's just one other thing. But that's how merciful he is. He's given us so much leniency. Srila Prabhupada came, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj came, gave us leniency. Srila Gurudev came, gave us more leniency. Our acharyas now, the Vaishnavas now, are giving us even more leniency. But does that mean that we have to not accept that we have to do some things properly in our line? Or is it just that they will give us all the leniency and we won't do anything? How will we reach him? How will we reach him? He is the crux of our whole position. Even when Gurudev is even speaking about him, he laughs in one morning walk. He was speaking about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada in front of his Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada's disciples. And someone complained that why is Narayana Maharaj speaking about him like he met him? And Gurudev said, through the years, I have met him through my Gurudev. And like this, we should also be in that position, that through the years we're meeting our acharyas. Because it doesn't...
They complained to Param Gurudev.
Yeah.
Then they went, oh, your disciple is very insubordinate. He's correcting his seniors. You should correct him. Oh, what did he say? He said that he knows Prabhupada better than us because he's heard about Prabhupada from your lips. And Param Gurudev said, he's correct. He said correctly.
So we're like this, if we have the opportunity to just listen, and I mean listen from the position of even hearing just a little bit from everyone, we'll be in a position to open our hearts to him and just give. There's so much space in our hearts for everything else, but actually we should have loads of space for our acharyas and then less space for everything else that comes. In his Upadeshwa Avali, he also speaks about this, about eventually I've just recently read an article where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada is saying that eventually by the process of Harinam, because he's very particular about Harinam, he said by the process of Harinam, your bhakti will drown in the ocean of bliss, and the material desires will dissipate. So like this, we are fortunate. I mean, Gurudev's Tithi is also coming up in a couple of days' time. These appearance days and disappearance days, we're in this very fortunate position to be able to appreciate what we've got. But if we appreciate every single Acharya's Tithi, then whole year round, we have someone to beg for mercy. And they're all very merciful. It's not like, oh, you're not my disciple, so I will not give to you. No, they're very merciful. I have first-hand experience of going down Saraswati Marg, which is the road that goes all the way to Yogpit, with all the acharyas there. If anyone is fortunate, you'll be able to walk down there and visit each acharya and pray to them that eventually get me to Mahaprabhu. I want to be there. But what do we have to do first? We have to pray to these acharyas, because they are the guidance. They're the ones that have directly come from Mahaprabhu. They have been sent by Mahaprabhu. Jai. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada ki Jai.
How late is everyone willing to stay tonight?
12.
They have a flight tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. We need to sing Jai Nila Premadana.
Okay.
And then afterwards I'll speak. I'll try to maybe expedite what I prepared. Or we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So page 99. Prabhupada Tumhara. Oh, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Oh, Patita Pavana, Prabhupada. Patita Pavana. Patita Pavana, Prabhupada Pranadana He, 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 Prabhupada Pranadana He. Jaya Gandharvaka Giridhari Gandharvaka Giridhari Hare Gandharvaka Giridhari Gandharvaka Giridhari Jaya Gandharvaka Giridhari Gandharvaka Giridhari Radhe. Bolo Radhe Radhe Shri Radhe Radhe Jaya Gandharvaka Giridhari Gandharvaka Giridhari Radhe. Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari Gandharva Giridhari Radhe. Giridhari Gandharva. Bolo Radhe 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 Shri Radhe Radhe Jaya Radhe Radhe Bolo Radhe Bolo Radhe Shri Radhe Radhe Jaya Radhe Radhe Shri Radhe Radhe Jaya Gandharvaka Giridhari Gandharvaka Giridhari Radhe. Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari Gandharvika Giridhari Radhe. Oh Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Oh Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. Oh Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Shri Shri Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Go Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tvedalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishnam Shtapetam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam Anjanulambita Bhujo Kanakavadato Sankirtanai Kapitaro Kamalaya Taksho Vishvambaro Dvijavaro Yugadharma Palo Vande Jagata Priyakaro Karunavataram Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Chiptascha Kamaritarangamarye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapanam Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Govinda Damo Naramaraveti Govinda Damo Naramaraveti Govinda Damo Naramaraveti Govinda Damo Naraveti. Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Saketi, Govinda Damo Yaramaraveti, Bhajami Radham Aravindra Netram, Smarami Radham madura smitasyam vadami radham karuna baradram tato mamanyasti gatir nakapi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Pushpanjali to my Guru Pada Padma Nichila Vishnu Om Vishnupad Astatara Sat Shri Shrima Rupanuga Acharyavarya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. The same heartfelt obeisance unto my preeminent Shiksha Gurus, Shri Prem Prayojan Prabhu, Srimati Shamarani Didi, Srila Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj. To my Param Guru, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and Srila Bhakti Pragan Keshu Goswami Maharaj. To Jagat Guru, Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and to the entire Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, to all of your gurus who are like my Shiksha Gurus, and to all of you Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, Bancha Kalpa Turubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Brevacha, Pitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namo. Very beautiful garden. Wow. So, by the causeless mercy of Sri Guru and Gauranga, I am trying to follow Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and like he gets the prasad from Jagannath, and the Vaishnavas in London Sangha are giving their prasad, and I get some garland. So very thankful to all of you. We're here together to honor, remember the powerful and impactful contributions of Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in the Gaudiya line. Like we were hearing previously, that Srila Bodhayan Maharaj is always saying, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Saraswat Sampradaya. Our Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, he named his mutt Chaitanya Saraswat Mutt, because he considered that the flow of the teachings and the mercy coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this mutt will be digested through the lens of the compassion and the kripa of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So it's a Chaitanya Saraswat Mutt. This is what we're learning in this institution. So like this, we've heard so many of the glories of Srila Prabhupada's appearance and different pastimes of his and with his various associates. So I wanted to discuss his Bani. His Bani, his teaching is very essential for us to hear some about what he was propagating. So we're discussing today from this lecture in 1929 in Albert Hall. Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave this lecture called the Gaudiya Darshan. And this topic is extremely, extremely advanced. So begging for the mercy of my Guru Dev, begging for the mercy of Sri Prem Prajambu, who has translated this book, I'll try to present to the best of my capacity some excerpts of this topic so that we can all be dragged unwillingly up at the upper level by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. So,
Question, where's Albert Hall?
in Kolkata. Yes. Yes. So we can go to the next slide. So, and I want to see the live stream. Is it capturing the slide good enough? Or more important even to the slide than to me, actually. But just want to make sure. So this book. So actually what we're seeing quoted on the screen here is on the back of the book. Then it says, Shabda Brahma, spiritual sound, forcibly cleaves one's consciousness from the impenetrable citadel of the body-mind complex. We're in the deep end already. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shabda Brahma, spiritual sound, forcibly means whether we want to accept it or not. It imposes its own will. Nam is the doer. We're not the doer. So Shabda Brahma, spiritual sound, forcibly cleaves one's consciousness from the impenetrable citadel of the body-mind complex and becomes self-manifest upon the platform of Sandini, its own inherent potency of transcendental existence. So, Abhinatvam Nama Namino. We should understand that the name and the named are non-different. So the sound vibration of the spiritual realm is directly presenting the spiritual realm. There's no distinguishing separation from that. Krishna Nama, Krishna Guna, Krishna Lilavinda, Krishna Nasrupa Sama, Sabachidananda. Krishna's name, his qualities, his pastimes, and his very form himself, they're all the same. And they're Sabachidananda. They're spiritually intoxicated with knowledge and bliss, directly and aggressively approaching this. His preaching was aggressive grace, like a thunderbolt. When he was that young boy and he would speak when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was traveling, then we heard how then one by one the classes became less and less full until he was by himself. But if you're really preaching, then your audience will probably be quite small, because the uncomfortable truths of the transcendental reality are very aggressive for the materially conscious individual. And this is why it describes the forcible cleaving of one's consciousness, like a direct attack. And this is why a sadhu is described to be like a knife, because the sadhu comes and cuts your attachment to the material realm. You're very attached. You don't want to give it up. And we experience that in our own lives. We have experiences of that. Even if we're in a very neophyte stage like myself, that activities that used to give me pleasure, now if I try to go back, there's no fun anymore. There's no pleasure there anymore. The sadhu has completely cut that pleasure out of my life. I can't enjoy it anymore. What to do? But this is the kripa of the sadhu. This is the power of Shabda Brahma. So the direct experience of this sound in the form of the personal audience of the Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the central thesis of the Gaudiya philosophers. So the direct experience of this sound in the form of the personal audience of the Godhead. What does this mean? This article, this lecture he gave called Gaudiya Darshan. So he's discussing two words, Gaudiya and Darshan, right? So what is Darshan? We'll have some discussion on this topic a little bit tonight. But you should understand that we're not capable of seeing this. We are not seeing, we're to be seen. This concept that we develop, that I'm going to go to the temple for darshan. But what is darshan? What do we mean darshan? Can we see the Lord in his Thakurji form and recognize that God is actually present? Or are we seeing stone, marble, brass, neem, some statue? Can we actually see the divine realm with this mundane vision? We need the ointment of the Premi Bhaktas to clear our vision and cleanse our heart. And so by the sound vibration of the pure devotees, then we can have real darshan. But now, our process, we're simply presenting ourselves to be seen, because we cannot see. But here he's saying, the direct experience of this sound in the form of the personal audience of the Godhead, Sri Krishna. So what type of sound are we hearing about? What's the direct experience? This is Shuddhanam. And this direct experience means that whether it be Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Abhinivedanam, any of the angas of bhakti actually directly means darshan if done it properly. Understand? Real Shravanam means darshan. You'll have the spot dharma, the bursting of the sporti of the Lord's form in your heart. Otherwise, you're not doing Shravanam. Otherwise, you're not doing kirtanam. Otherwise, you're not doing smaranam. What does it mean to remember? So, Srila Prabhupada is coming in very aggressive, that we should understand very clearly. The direct experience of this sound in the form of the personal audience of the Godhead Sri Krishna. That means that having that direct experience means you have to have darshan. That you have to be able to see the Lord. Your vision has to be clear enough to have the observation of the Lord, meaning He's revealing Himself to you, meaning your chitta has become very cleansed. You're a perfect disciple, Sat Shishya. And this topic of the sound vibration of the pure devotees and having darshan of the Lord and the Lord revealing Himself to you, He's saying, this is the central thesis of the Gaudiya philosophers. So if we're really trying to be Gaudiya, trying to follow in the line of Prabhupada, trying to follow in the line of Mahaprabhu like this, then we should understand what we're trying for. And so this is our discussion point. So next slide, we hear from Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He gives a very eloquent breakdown throughout this topic on the different obstacles that will come if there's incorrect hearing. And so Sri Prem Brojan will put like kind of more concise in his commentary this little breakdown that we're reviewing here. So when a pure, perfect disciple, a Sat Shishya, is engaged in a Vishrambhena Guru Seva, and his heart is become cleansed by the Seva and by the Bhajan and by the mercy of Sri Guru, then the transcendental sound vibration is able to penetrate and he's able to represent the parampara to the next generation. So maybe we think to ourselves, oh, why is there more and more fake gurus and misrepresentations of the acharyas and concoctions? It's the perversion of sound. When the sound has become perverted due to either the speaker or the listener has some contamination on the chitta. The chitta hasn't been fully melted. Ruchibis chitta mashrinya. In Bhav Bhakti, the chitta becomes melted by taste, real taste. So if the chitta is contaminated, this material chitta is contaminated, then the sound vibration is not clear. It's not properly received. And if that person takes on some role and responsibility to then give instruction to the next generation, although the material shape and the externality of what they're saying could appear to be quite in line, they lack the capacity to really spread the message of the Gaudiya line because they're not able to transmit the Shabda Brahma. And this is all we really care about. We have no consideration for the charismatic preaching style or the particularly beautiful kirtan or some particularly well-versed, well-educated personalities. Like at the time of our Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Goswami, when some Bhagavad Sapta occurred, and for 7 days they were speaking Srimad Bhagavatam continuously. And then afterwards, Babaji Maharaj said, oh, we should bring some cow dung and we should clean this place. And they said, but Babaji Maharaj, for 7 days we've had Bhagavad Katha. Why we need to clean this place? He says, you heard Bhagavad Katha? I only heard money, money, money. So there was some defect in the Shabda Brahma. There was some defect in the transmission. It wasn't able to be conveyed in that place by those speakers. And unless we have the association of personalities who are able to penetrate and pierce the ear and pierce into our consciousness and really give us the transcendental sound vibration, then we also cannot be cleansed of our obstacle. But the Sat Shishya, when a Shabda Brahma comes, when he hears from Sri Guru, it enters the ear and it enters the chitta, and immediately there's spurti. It means a bursting. It means a bursting. Spurti is like a bursting of the vision of the Lord. The Spot Dharma, the bursting philosophy. So this means when a Sat Shishya, when a pure disciple hears Harikatha, his Gurudev is speaking something, he's having darshan. When he's engaged in chanting in the kirtan of his Gurudev, he's having darshan. When he's engaged in remembering the pastimes of the Lord and the pastimes of his Gurudev, he's having darshan. And on like this. So this other section here, upasan, it's saying service takes place in the chitta. So engage internally in the service as well. So this is what happens when the Sat Shishya is there. But the Asat Shishya means the unqualified disciple. There's an obstruction when they hear sound vibration. Very significant. Like anyone, now some material loss of hearing is coming. So you understand this concept very easily, actually. But this is not the consideration. The material loss of hearing can be there, not be there. That doesn't matter. We're talking about only in the transcendental capacity. Because like our Srila Gurudev one time, he was with Sri Prem Prajam, who was asking him some question. And Srila Gurudev, he said, wait a second, let me get my earpiece because I'm going a little deaf, I need to hear. So let me get this. And Prem Prajam, he comments on this memory of being with Gurudev, and he says, he can hear the flute of Krishna. Who is really deaf? He hears the flute of Krishna, but he's saying, no, wait, let me get my earpiece to hear your question. But he can hear the flute of Krishna. So who's really the deaf person? So we should understand that when the Asat Shishya, when the disciple who's imperfect in their following, imperfect in their advancement, imperfect in their realization, when they hear the same Harikatha, so two people in the same room, one is Sat Shishya, one is Asat Shishya, they hear the same instruction from Srila Gurudev, but they take it differently. Like we have this pastime of Indra and Virochan. They both get the same instruction, but then one is able to come to the realization that there's something more and comes back again and again and again. And after a full 105 years, then he becomes cognizant of the real message of Sri Guru. And Virochan, he hears one time for 34 years, I think, and then he goes and his whole opera sampradaya of the demon race is coming from this misunderstanding, the mistransmission of Shabda Brahma, because he had an obstruction. So we have here this breakdown. When the Shabda Brahma enters the ear, it's obstructed by ego. So this false ego is there, this ahankar. And because we have this conception that I am this body, I am this mind, I, me, me, I, me, mine. Actually, most conversation in the world is just a combination of I, me, and mine. Most of the worldly conversations, we're just recycling, talking about ourselves. Even someone tells to share something about themselves. Oh yes, but let me tell you about me. Yes, I had exactly the same experience. Oh, you had traffic? I also had traffic. Oh wow, we are the same. What a very elevated conversation. We're so intellectual. Like this. So, obstruction is there because of false ego. Because we have this materially conditioned bodily identification. We have this mind identification. And there's a breakdown here of 4 types of distorted or convoluted or congested knowledge. Parichchina Gyan, Sankirna Gyan, Vikrita Gyan, and Vivarta Grasta Gyan. And so the result of any one or all of these in different degrees is that there's an imitation of smaran. Real remembrance can't happen because we're not having darshan. And so we have some imagination going on. And even now there's like a apasampradayic and apasiddhantic groups that will feed into the imagination theory. And they say, we have some very nice Siddha Pranali process for you. You come, it's only 40,000 rupees. And we'll give you your manjari name, we'll give you your form, your color, your outfit, your service, everything. We'll explain everything to you, but don't share with anyone else. There was a big scandal some years ago where 40 people got this and they found out they all got the same information. So it's all, everything is cheating in this material world. Don't discuss with anyone else. Like, who was it? Sri Ramanujacharya, when he received his mantra, and he was told, you can't share it with anyone else. And he's like, but Gurudev, this mantra is so powerful, it will liberate anyone who hears it. And he said, yes. So then when he went outside, he loudly proclaimed to the whole room, this is the mantra I just received. And his Gurudev said, what are you doing? I gave this mantra just for you. He says, but you said it would liberate the whole world. So if I have to go to hell, then I give it out. No problem. So, but generally principle, this is an acharya doing some specific pastime. But actually general principle is true. You keep your guru secret, you keep your mantra secret, these things you keep secret. But these people, they didn't know anything anyways. They were totally unqualified for any of this type of instruction. And they were all like some friend group. So then they started discussing and finding out they had all the same information given to them. So this is a world of cheating. And if you have that false ego, then even if you sit in the assembly of pure devotees, even if you have the opportunity to hear pure Harikatha from exalted Vaishnavas, there could be some obstruction, some misunderstanding. So we have to engage in Vaishnav Seva, in Guru Seva, to keep cleansing the heart, so that we can actually properly receive the Shabda Brahma. So go next slide. This corrupted knowledge is there in the Asat Shishya. We're all struggling with the same things, actually, this type of corruption. So the Pradicina Gyan, there's incomplete theoretical thought constructs subject to division by time and space. So one example of this is there in the pastime of Ajamil, that he had this effect on him. Because he was trained in the right way, but he didn't apply everything correctly. And he got dovetailed into trying to enjoy. And he became lost. But he was saved in the end. But he became distracted. He went the wrong direction. So this was there. So this Sankirna Gyan, this I want to expedite because we're very late. So we're not going to tell full pastimes and so many things. This Sankirna Gyan is a contracted knowledge lacking in detail and mixed with the Pradicina Gyan. The Vikrita Gyan is distorted knowledge, and the Vivarta Grasta Gyan is inverted knowledge. Like in Brahma Vimohan Leela, when Lord Brahma steals all the cows and the cowherd boys. So they have some idea, like all of the gopis and everyone, they have some idea, some knowledge, some concept that this is my husband, this is my son, this is my cows, everything like that. But there's some inversion on that knowledge because there's some illusion happening, right? Like this. So we can go. Next slide. Maybe in the future we could have more full discussion, but because it's very late, we're not going to dwell. So, how can we attain the darshan of the Lord? So, Ramananda Prabhu, he asked me yesterday, he said, what's your favorite of the 24 Upadeshavalis of Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur? And it's this, very relevant. Krishna's darshan can only be attained through the medium of the ear, as one hears Harikatha from pure Vaishnavas. There is no other way. So he wanted to make it crystal clear. He didn't just make the statement, he also added the addendum, there's no other way, right? So while we're having some introduction to the idea that there's potential corruption in our ability to receive Shabda Brahma, we should also understand that it's the only way we can receive Krishna's darshan is to continue to submit ourselves in the environment of that Shabda Brahma. Even if there's a corruption, even if there's some obstacle, because you don't want to start mentally concocting some idea, okay, well, because I can't really hear pure Harikatha anyways because I have all these problems and I have all these misconceptions and my heart is not clean, then I'll skip the program. Oh, some great sadhu is coming, but anyways, his English is a little difficult for me to understand, so I'll skip the program. Oh, this person, I have to work late, I'll only catch the last hour. I might as well not go to the program. Or, there's no sadhu in town. What's the use of going to that program? But actually, the sadhu becomes present where his shishyas gather and endeavor to remember him. Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is here now. He's present there. You think this is just a picture? Should realize we should all have that type of vision. We should try to have that type of vision. That the Acharya, he's one form of Bhagavan. And because of this, he's present in ways that we can't even conceive of as possible from the materialistic angle of vision. Like I remember Srimati Shamrani Didi, when she was giving her initiation, the first time she gave initiation, and she said, if you really want to keep a picture of me, like you might keep a picture of your dog or your grandmother, then you can do it. So overflowing with the humility. But the picture of Didi and the picture of someone's dog and grandmother is completely different categories. And not just because the picture frame may be different or you put one picture on the altar, but when the personality is of a particular category, Tad Svarupya, they're one with the Swarup Shakti of the Lord, then just like the Lord is non-different from his form, the Lord is non-different from his name, the Lord is non-different from his qualities, the Lord is non-different from his pastimes, the Acharya has the same features. And so if you have the opportunity to associate with that type of personality or come together in a collective endeavor to remember the glories of those types of personalities, then you get their mercy. And the only way you can get Krishna's darshan is to hear this pure Harikatha from these personalities. There's no other way to have access to the darshan of the Lord. So next slide. So then what comes into concept that we have to discuss is if someone may speak and their words don't have the same impact as the Acharya, what is the language being used? Like they say one word, Shravan. If you hear the word Shravan, you think hearing. But the Acharya, he means darshan. So we should analyze the meaning behind words a little bit. There's vritti. Vritti means the meaning behind the word. So there's three main types of vrittis, actually some 6, 7 varieties, but we'll discuss three main types. Abhida vritti means the primary meaning, the mukhya artha, the root meaning. Lakshan vritti means the associated meaning, and Vyanjan vritti means the suggested meaning. Everyone got that? I know it's a technical topic also in the evening, but hopefully you're enthusiastic to have an educational opportunity. Abhida vritti means what? Don't look. Okay, and Lakshan vritti? And Vyanjan vritti? So we'll give some examples of these, but what we should understand is sound is so powerful, there's not a separation between receiving sound and having realization when it's properly transmitted. So one example that's given in regards to the transmission of sound is there's 10 men, they're together crossing a river. And these 10 men, they get in a boat together, they cross the river, and when they get to the other side, they want to make sure their group is together. So one person counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're missing one person. Where's the other person? Oh, I must count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, we're missing one person. And like this, he becomes bewildered. So when you're in bewilderment, you can't escape yourself. And so some observer who is separate from that group, he says, hey, Ai Baba, Dasyam Tvamasi, you're the 10th man. You're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but you're the 10th man. So just by hearing Dasam Tvamasi, then he had immediate realization and his illusion was broken. So we should understand what is the capacity of the conveyance of sound vibration. Pure sound vibration. When it's conveyed correctly from someone who has realization to someone who's ignorant, if that person is able to receive, there's not a lag time, but the realization will come immediately. So we go to the next slide. A bit of vritti has 3 components. So a bit of vritti, the primary meaning of words, there's 3 types of a bit of vritti. Yogiki, a bit of vritti, Rudi, a bit of vritti, and Yoga Rudi, a bit of vritti. So yogiki is the etymological meaning. When you're creating a word from different parts, like the example is there, pachaka. Pachak is coming from the parts pach datu, means to cook, so pachak is a chef. So we have very easy, this is a very easy thing to follow. Okay, we have some parts and we put them together and it means something related. There's an etymological root. Rudi vritti is the conventional meaning. And the conventional meaning is something that's just commonly used, like slang, right? Like mandap. It's coming from a mantam pati, the person who guards the ornaments. But mandap means a tent. It means a place where we come together under a tent, right? Mandapa, right? Yeah. So
Sick is not actually meant in a bad way.
yes, yes. So, so there's a conventional meaning of the words, and it may have nothing to do with the etymology. So this is the Rudi Abhidavritti. And the Yoga Rudi Abhidavritti is yoga means union, right? So when you combine etymological and conventional terminology, you have the Yoga Rudi Abhidavritti meaning of words. Yes?
Would colloquial also be a correct word to describe Rudi?
Yes, conventional or colloquial, yes. So in the case of Yoga Rudi, we have one example is Pankaj. So Pankaj, the translation, if you take the etymology, the yogiki abhidavritti, the Pankaj means something that grows from the mud. So something that grows from the mud could be many things, but what does Pankaj mean? What do we accept as Pankaj? Yashodhani?
It's something to do with Krishna.
Lotus. Lotuses grow from the mud. So, but the combined etymological and colloquial or conventional meaning comes together. This Pankaj, it means a lotus. So you're not going to say Pankaj to mean something else growing from the mud in the general conversation like this. So this is a bit of vritti. Then Lakshan vritti. Next slide. We have this here, Lakshan vritti. So this is the associated meaning. Associated meaning. So you know this term, Gangayam Goshaha. This means my house is on the Ganga. Or the village on the Ganga. So this is a nice AI picture of a village on the Ganga. So, but if someone tells you, oh, Pran Kishore, can you come visit me? Oh, where do you live? Gangayam Goshaha. My village is on the Ganga. What will you think?
I'll think that it must be by the side of the Ganga.
Yes, on the bank. You won't think that there's actually a village floating in the middle of the Ganga. So you take the associated meaning. Yes. And actually there's also Vyanjan Vritti. There's a suggestion in this, meaning if you want to visit me, you should take a boat. Because my place is on the Ganga. Right? So there's also Vyanjan Vritti in this. So we go next slide. Vyanjan Vritti, there's also another example. Like it's if you're in school and the teacher's going on and on and on, they're speaking, and the sun starts to set, and you say, oh, teacher, excuse me, the sun is beginning to set. It means the suggestion is you're speaking too long, it's getting too late, you need to shut up so we can go home. Right? So there's some suggestion, but it's very polite. Oh, teacher, excuse me, yes, the sun is beginning to set. Like this. So not to offend. Like this. So what we'll discuss a little bit now is in the realm of Rudi Vritti, the colloquial meaning of words. There's 3 divisions. So there's Vidvad Rudi Vritti, means it makes visible the Advai Gyan. So the Advai Gyan Paratattva, the non-dual awareness within the consciousness of the Vidvan, of the perfectly realized saint. So unless we're a Sat Shishya and we can receive the Shabda Brahma correctly, and then we can have our darshan, the Spot Dharma will operate, the Sporti will occur in our heart, we'll do a service on the clear reflection of the Chitta, then some obstacle can be there. So the point is being made that it makes visible by Gyan, non-dual awareness, within the consciousness of the Vidvan, of those perfectly realized saints. So to be able to comprehend the Vidvad, Rudi, of words, requires your consciousness to be clean, completely free of all the anarthas. The Sadharan Rudi is the conventional meaning of words, but it's binding the material intelligence in concentration on like material substances. So maybe coming up to the stage of Sattva Gun, but it's not going to give you any access to the divine realm. So the word is being used, and everyone is agreeing on what the word means, but it's all from a material angle of vision, maybe in the mode of goodness, but nothing higher than that. And the Agyarudi is the conventional utilization of words that are so further contracted that they're under the effect of Rajas and Tamas. So it's a very contracted understanding of words. So the customs of Rajagun and Tamagun so permeating in this material world, and so our understanding coming through that lens, the words are conveyed, they're known as Agyarudi. Yes.
Would it be correct to say that the Sadharana Rudi is
Sadharana Rudi, yes.
Is
yeah.
something like having an abstract understanding but not a actual realized experience of the whatever is being conveyed?
Yes, you can have maybe some theoretical knowledge,
yeah,
but you can't convey the message because you're not a transmission, like you're not able to transmit the message because your chitta is not clear.
It's not imbibed.
Like Mahaprabhu's first instruction in Shikshastika, Chaito Darpana Marjanam. What is this? Chaito Darpana Marjanam. It's the cleansing of the mirror of your heart. So if this process hasn't been completed successfully, and then the chitta hasn't melted by the tastes that have cropped up in your sadhan, in your Vishrambhena Guru Seva, by the kripa of your Guru, then how is it possible for you to have a clear reflection of the transcendental reality? So you'll always be either engaging in Sadharanrudi or Agyarudi with your words. Impossible to go beyond, access beyond that point. So this is very critical for us because Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he preached a mission where it was very high topics and very complex subject matters. And on top of that, his words didn't all mean exactly what they think they mean. Like we may have an understanding of his words, but we're conditioned in the Sadharanrudi understanding or the Agyarudi understanding. So even if we could read an article of his or listen to some katha, we still may not be able to grasp what he really means by them. So his entire reason for descending here is to be able to give this Vidvarudi of words, to give us the proper understanding, the proper access to the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to the mercy that's flowing from Sri Krishna all the way down through his mercy, through his disciples like this. And he says this himself. We can go to the next slide. In a world inundated with Agya Rudi. Sri Gaudiya Mutt is the sacred place of the descent of the Vidvad Rudi of words. So this is Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's own conviction that this world is a place of Rajas and Tamas, contracted consciousness. The words that we use are completely and totally consumed by conventional communication at a very low consciousness level, with no taste or realization for the transcendental realm and no capacity to experience the transcendental realm. So he came and established an institution. Mutt means like a school. He established the school of the Gaudiyas, an institution. But what subject matter did he want to teach us? Maybe this is the first time you're all hearing this, but he wanted to teach you this: the Vidvarudi Vritti of words. He wanted to teach you the transcendental understanding of the words that reveal Advai Gyan. Not that we read something and we, oh yes, Shravan. Yes, I know Shravan. Shravan means hearing. I figured it out. Okay, next subject matter. I have graduated this topic. No, we're just at the beginning of this topic. Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was so Radha Paksha, so attached to Srimati Radhika, when devotees would observe that guests and visitors and Parikrama attendants would come to Radhakund and do Dandavat Parikrama and take bathe in Radhakund and sing so many prayers to Radhakund, then they said, wow, Prabhupada, these personalities, they have so much attachment to Radhakund. He says, yes, but our relationship with them is very different. How we feel about Radhakund and Radha and Krishna, very different than they feel about Radhakund, Radha and Krishna. They're coming and they're worshipping Radhakund because Srimati Radhika is Krishna's beloved. But we worship Krishna because Srimati Radhika has chosen Krishna. So he was so Radha Paksha. How could we understand his words if we're in Agyarudi understanding, or maybe Siddhanarudi understanding? How can we understand what message he really wanted to give if our consciousness is contaminated? And if the parampara is only continued by asat shishyas, whose ego is obstructing the true Shabda Brahma, the sound vibration can't be conveyed. And this is how apasambradayas are developed. Very naturally, very easily they develop, because some tinge of defect is there. And this is also why we established by our Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, there's a clear establishment of the Bhagavad Parampara. Because if you take only Pancharachika marg and you just look at a Diksha, Guru, Disciple, Guru, Disciple, Guru, Disciple, if there's a defect in the transmission of the Shabda Brahma, then that whole parampara becomes apasampradaya. But how do you correct it? If there was a defect here, but 1 or 2 generations later, someone who's in that line receives some shiksha outside of that line, and the Dharma manifested because they were a Sat Shishya, and they heard sound vibration, Shabda Brahma, and became perfect. But how can they nicely slide this person who was giving some misconceptions due to their obstructed ego, due to their incorrect digestion of Shabda Brahma? How can you do this? In Bhagavad Parampara, you just can slide them to the side. You can give respect that they're a grandfather, great-grandfather like this, but you don't prioritize their teachings. That doesn't mean that, like, when you look at the Parampara and you see like a Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and you see Narottam Das Thakur and you see them next to each other, you shouldn't think, oh, but they're more than 100 years apart, so there's a break in our Parampara. Don't think like this. You should know the Parampara is eternally connected. There is a Diksha line, but we're not giving preference or priority to the Pancharachika flow. But the Bhagavad Parampara that Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur established on behalf of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's emphasizing those personalities who are the Vidvan, the realized saints, and they have taken it upon themselves to convey the Vidrad Rudi of words to the world so that the proper understanding of who is a Gaudiya and what is Darshan and who is Mahaprabhu and what is the relationship that we have with him can properly be presented and not lost to the world. Like Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he is a Diksha Guru, is Sri Radharaman Chakravarti. So he has a Diksha Guru, Sri Radharaman Chakravarti, and his love for his Diksha Guru was so great that he wrote this bhajan we sing every morning. What do we sing? Huh? Samsara dava nalalita loka Svanaya karuna gana ganatvam Praptasya kalyana gunanavasyam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravind. How you can write such a sweet bhajan and not love your Guru and not have affection for your Guru and not submit yourself to your Guru? So, and his father, Radharaman Chakravarti's father and Guru was Krishna Charan Chakravarti, and his Guru was Ganga Narayan Chakravarti. And if you read the pastimes of Narottam Das Thakur, then you see Ganga Narayan Chakravarti was one of his senior disciples. And at the time when the Smarta Brahmins wanted to challenge Narottam Das Thakur in Sanskrit, Ganga Narayan Chakravarti was one of the ones who disguised himself like a villager and pretended to be like a pot seller and like a cloth seller, and he was speaking with some of his other godbrothers and like Ramachandra Kaviraj in Sanskrit, in Shuddha Sanskrit. And so when they came into the village and they saw that even the people selling cloth and pots and food and vegetables could speak perfect Sanskrit, they said, okay, we can't challenge Narottam Das Thakur. So this personality is the great-grandfather Guru of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and he's a disciple of Narottam Das Thakur. So this line is there. You should never think there's some defect, there's some fault, there's some disconnect, Prabhupada made some mistake. Don't let your mind go that direction. He has given everything perfectly. And what he came to give, what he came to emphasize, the central theme of his preaching mission is that we should understand the real meaning of words. We should understand what it really means when we say, oh, I'm engaging in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smarnam like this. Because if we don't understand that and we can't digest the pure sound vibration of the pure devotee, then we won't be able to represent Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, and the line will disappear. Our Param Gurudev, he says, Srila Bhakti Bhagavan Kesha Goswami Maharaj, will sing right now the Arti to Srila Prabhupada. He wrote this Arti himself, and he says that if the worship of Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ever stops in this world, then pure bhakti will dry up. How important is Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur? How critical it is to be connected to him, to understand his glories and understand what he's come to give, what he's trying to give, what he's trying to instill. So I want to end here. It's very late. We'll have Arti to Srila Prabhupada, some Pushpanjali, and then we have nice Prasadam feast by Prankishore Prabhu. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Tirubhavtiti Maha Mahotsava ki jai. Maha Mahotsava ki jai. Maha Mahotsava ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. So we'll sing this bhajan. We need the songbooks. I think devotees will need.